Brian Fritz here with the beautiful and talented Charlotte here at WrestleMania Radio Row. Your first experience on Radio Row, how are you liking it so far?
It's awesome, especially because all my interviews I've been facing the NXT ring. So
yeah.
that's
feel like you're at home.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's been awesome. Thank you for having me.
We were just talking about this, but you know, when you won the women's championship, it was almost a year ago already.
I know.
Where'd the time go?
I don't. Well, look where it's not only where's the time gone, but look how the product has grown, and I've already had Natty, Bailey, Sasha Banks, the Fatal 4-Way. It just keeps getting better, so yeah. It's awesome.
What's it like now, too? Because we've seen NXT grow, but obviously with the women, and now people are talking about, oh, let's break this down, and there's 4 matches on the special show, and the women's match was the best. And it's not just something that, oh, they got a little bit of time, but the showcase is there, and the women having fantastic matches, too.
Honestly, I want to say I want to go back to it. Started with Paige and Emma at Arrival.
Sure.
And I really think that sparked the interest of the writers. I want to say Triple H has always been hands-on, but them saying like, okay, we've got a lot of hungry women down here that really want it, that will continue to work hard, that know how to work. And from Arrival, then it was me and Natty's match, and then I feel like we continued to get better each and every time. But starting with Arrival, it was, you know, eye-opening to everyone. They're like, okay, they killed it. Let's see if they can kill it again. Let's see if they can kill it again. Yeah. So every time it's just earning the respect and the trust, and I think that's the only reason why, 100% the only reason why we've been given time, more storylines, and more focus is because we have.
Go back to the match with Natty. Did you feel a lot of pressure going into that, or what was on your mind? Because there had to be a lot of emotion because your dad's there, Brett's there. It's a huge match. It's a huge showcase.
I'm not gonna. I was scared. It was my first opportunity to really show everyone that A, I deserved that spot. B, you have Bret Hart and my dad out there, and it's like, well, I don't want these 2 men and their legacies and their storylines to overshadow what I'm about to do.
Right.
So I just wanted, and I wanted, obviously Natty was coming down to NXT. She has believed in me since day one. She's been my biggest supporter, and she said, listen to me, trust me, and just be who you are, and this match is going to be awesome. And it, more importantly, is like I wanted to raise up to her level and show her how hard I've, you know, worked and wanted it. So I mean, it was so many things. That match had so many different emotions. It wasn't just like, oh, the second time NXT Women's Champion. No, it was a big. It put me on the map.
Yeah, and everybody's seen obviously the growth that you've had, you know, as a performer. How long have you been wrestling though? Not that long.
I'd say I've had under 100 matches.
Okay. But I mean, when did you start? Was it 3 years ago?
I started 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And to be this far along already is incredible. For somebody that, obviously, you have the bloodlines, but I guess originally there was no thought about going into wrestling, and then, hey, you know what, why not give this a try?
Oh, I'm a complete product of NXT. So if people say, you know, what do you do down in... I want to say brand, but developmental or the PC, you have every tool to get better. Yeah. And I realized that my dad was a wrestler, but just because, I mean, I never paid attention to what he was doing. I never paid attention to what went into it. I didn't understand the psychology. So no, it's just more or less using the tools of what you have down there and the amazing talent that I work with day in and day out. And Sarah Del Rey. I mean, I have to say, she's been the biggest part of my growth. Yeah.
Do you have conversations now with your dad about psychology of matches?
Oh, 100%. I didn't the first year just because I was learning, you know, how to run the ropes, take a bump, and there's so much that goes into wrestling, and I think so many people are so naive to that. But no, for the first year, I didn't talk to my dad about any of that, just because I didn't even know. I was like, okay, can I just make it through a match? Yeah. Without, because I was so shy to be in front of. I mean, I'd always played sports, and sports are different than, you know, having to not only be athletic, but also to have emotion, to have a character. There's just so much that goes into it. So.
You know, when you first appeared on Raw, there was so much made about that from fans. People were disappointed that okay, we're seeing Charlotte finally getting a showcase of going on Raw for a match, and I'm like, wait a second, why is she losing? Why is it so short? What was your thoughts about the feedback that came from that? Because there was a lot of feedback. It was very vocal.
I know. I guess I can understand why people were so vocal, because they were used to seeing me in for, I guess, longer matches. But to me, I was like, heck yeah, here is the NXT Women's Champion showing up on Raw.
Right.
And to me, it was, you know, the main roster giving NXT as a whole a chance to be seen. Like, whether it was 30 minutes, it was 4 minutes, but at the end of the day, I still got the title for NXT on television, and I did, you know, get to wrestle Natalya one more time.
Right.
And people are like, well, you lost on your debut. No, I had an opportunity to show the world who Charlotte was, and now it's 1-1.
Well, I can play a little devil's advocate, because the only reason that I was a little bit upset was the standpoint that there's this live special for NXT that's coming up. You are the champion. We want people to, if you haven't seen this yet, go out of your way to watch it. And then the showcase was Raw, and I think some people and myself were like, well, she's the champion. I want to see the champion here, and I don't want to see her after a loss necessarily. You get my drift?
No, I do, but I guess
still,
the only thing is saving is it wasn't a title match, so I lost. And I always go back to my dad's career. He never won.
Right. We're really grinding this down to Wrestling 101 at this point, aren't we?
I know. Well, I don't know. So for me, I walked away. Okay, I wanted everyone watching on TV to say, whoa, that girl knows she's a badass and thinks she's a badass.
Yeah.
So it was me when I walked through that curtain, people were like, well, who's Charlotte? And then they'll be like, what's NXT? So
you get it.
I get it. And I was so honored just to even be on there, because you don't see a lot of the NXT kids just on there once.
You're right.
And no one ever looked at me and said, oh, this is your debut. They just said, hey, this is a little, segment for NXT. So whenever I was like, I think I was like, Hunter, did I debut? Like, it wasn't everyone's like, well, that's your debut. It wasn't my...
It's not your official debut. You appeared.
Yeah,
I
appeared.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when you debut, that means you stay
But
there.
that's the problem with NXT, because everyone loves us, knows us, wants success for us. So when you do see someone that people, maybe they're not my fan, but they do like me at NXT, they're like, well, she's one of the biggest parts of our favorite show. Why? That's with NXT's popularity, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's the thing I think that people are worried about now. That people say, oh, I love her on NXT. I don't want her to see her go on WWE. I know it's a bigger stage, but I like what's going on at NXT. I like the time that the women are given. I like the time that everybody's given in the matches, and that's what I want to see more of. It's kind of this weird conundrum, I guess. But I mean, the goal is you still want to get to WWE. You still want to be on the main roster.
I want a main event, a pay-per-view. I want 20-minute matches. And I want to be considered just as good as the guys up there. And that's what everyone's like, well, NXT, the women get more, I truly believe in my heart that the women at NXT created those opportunities. So I know that the same women that come up with me in the future, whether it takes a year, 2 years, 5 years, whether I'm still in it, and the young girls that are just starting today in developmental, it will change, because that's how hungry we are.
Yeah.
And as a publicly traded company, no one looks at, I don't think, yes, everyone's beautiful, but another thing is I don't think anyone's like, oh, look at that eye candy. Oh, did you see her Playboy issue? Not that if you want to do that, that's fine, but I also think it's just more credible across the board, and they're pulling from all walks of life. Like, I had no wrestling background. Then you have Alexa Bliss, who was a cheerleader and fitness model. Dana Brooke, fitness model. Then you have Bayley and Sasha Banks, who rocked it on the indies.
Right.
There's so many different, the Carmella. Yeah. She was a Lakers cheerleader.
Right.
It's a hodgepodge of people, just not pulling from over in Europe. Yeah, they're just not doing searches and saying, okay, she's winning. No, you have women that, regardless of their past, want to be the best.
Right.
So,
and now the NXT is going to be a touring brand, or that's the hope by the end of the year.
Yeah.
What's it like now with the excitement around that? Because I mean, there's so many people that are already in NXT, and people talk about it now. And now you're going to be going on the road, you know, and that's the goal by the end of the year, is to regularly go on the road outside of Florida and have shows on a regular basis.
Oh, I'm just so proud of NXT. I mean, I was at FCW in Tampa with 11 people.
Right.
Like the same 11 people every Thursday. I was ring announcing in front of those 11 people because obviously I hadn't. That's when like Bray Wyatt was Husky Harris, the Shield was there. I mean, Paige obviously. Well, she was like the star at that point, but Emma was there, Summer Rae was there, Corey Graves, but to see where it's. What it's turned into, what it's developed into, and all the passion that Triple H has put into it. And then Columbus and Cleveland was just a taste of what the road's going to be like for NXT. I mean, the fans, the energy, it was like ECW. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I mean, you just when you walked out, I was like, I mean, I was nervous because, you know, it was a new crowd, but I was more. I could feel the energy, and people were feeding off of it.
Now, you were around wrestling, obviously, when you were growing up because of your dad, but were you a fan?
I was a fan. I wasn't, I can't say I watched religiously.
Sure.
But I was my dad's #1 fan.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, you brought BCW. Did you follow that at the time?
Well, now with that's
you go back and watch it with the network.
I watch it. That's what's so, especially for someone like me who didn't watch over, you know, each product over the last couple years, but now on the network I go back and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know this was around. Yeah, it's been awesome with the network being able to go back since they have the library of everything.
Right. With your dad being in multiple WrestleManias.
Yeah.
How many did you go to? Because I know you went to his retirement one.
4.
You went to 4.
4 or 5. I mean,
what was it like?
I was
being
at
young?
Starrcade '93 with Vader.
Wow.
I was the one in the
How old
match.
were you then?
Got 8, 9.
Yeah. What was it like then, seeing your dad against Vader?
Well, I don't know if my dad tells this story, but it was the first time his parents had seen him in person wrestle. Yeah, so I was sitting there with his parents. I was so young, and it was in Charlotte.
Right.
I didn't really. I was like, oh, cool, my dad's wrestling again. And then another one was when Muhammad Ali, when my dad wrestled Hogan in Chicago.
Okay.
That was another big one I remember as a kid. I went to all the Bash at the Beaches.
Right.
I even went to when they were taping at Universal.
I was there.
They always went to St. Martin.
Yeah.
So I went to St. Martin a lot with him. My biggest memories obviously were when I was a kid, because when I was in high school, when my dad was in WWE, I was playing sports, you know, applying to colleges, so I didn't get to, you know, go to a lot of big shows, but I've been to 4 or 5 Manias.
Yeah, and you were at his retirement match for WrestleMania at the time, and
yeah.
I mean, everybody remembers the crowd shout at the family. How tough was that for you to watch that?
Well, it was just tough to watch my dad so emotional. Just because my dad, he doesn't want to retire.
Right.
He could wrestle till the day he dies. But to know, if you look up pro wrestling in a dictionary, I hope they put my dad's name beside it, because that's been his whole life. He didn't want to make movies. He didn't want to. I don't know.
He wanted to do anything else.
He didn't want to do. All he wanted to do was wrestle.
Right.
I mean, that's to this day, that's all he's ever wanted to do.
Right.
And so, okay, so seeing him in the ring, knowing that was his last match in the WWE ring, and then seeing all the fans around get emotional with him.
Yeah.
You know, it was hard having him gone a lot as a kid, and then obviously he was really gone for my older brother and sister. But to see the fans pay him that respect back when he'd been taken away from us for so long, it was amazing.
Does he still, when he travels anywhere, does he have his trunks and boots with him at all times, just in case?
Maybe a robe. Maybe a robe.
Does he still have a robe?
Oh, he has his robes. No, I don't. I think he will do an elbow drop anywhere. Just in a
I know
suit
that.
jacket.
Drop a knee, drop an elbow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but honestly though, with me being in NXT and him knowing all the kids at NXT and getting to travel with us, and Triple H has him down all the time, and he was just at the Arnold with us. He loves it.
Right.
Like he will. I mean, he just wants to be with the boys.
Right. And I think one of the best things about seeing you now as a performer is, I don't think, hey, this is Ric Flair's daughter. I think this is Charlotte, because I think you've made it on your own, and that's the best thing is that. You know, yes, obviously that's my dad, but you've done it on your own talent, your own merits. You've done it your way with somebody that just started a few years ago, and you've come so far so quickly now to where the question you're always getting now is, so when am I going to see you in WWE?
I know my time will come.
Right.
Whether it's Monday, whether it's a year from now, I focus on NXT.
I'm guessing Monday, though. I'm just going to say
honestly,
it.
I have no idea.
Right.
But I do know, like, what I've done in NXT, that because I want to be that impactful.
Yeah.
When I do get the chance to go to the main roster.
And you will.
That's how bad I want it.
I think you will. Because I think everybody talks about when Charlotte gets here, just kind of the, just taking it to another level. And the presence that you have, and the presence you have when it comes to what you bring to the table. Last thing, what was your thoughts about, because there's so much made of it at the time about the Give Divas a Chance, that started in WWE, and there was a lot of buzz about that going on, especially on social media.
I don't know if I'm supposed to answer it this way or not. I personally think it's because the NXT women have been killing it.
Yep.
I will say that Sasha Banks, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Dana, I love the girls down there. We work so hard.
Think there's a little jealousy? Just from a standpoint of, man, look at the opportunities and the time
I don't know how they could be jealous because they're on the biggest stage of all. We're at NXT, and we bust our butts in training every single day. So I don't know how there could be jealousy.
Well, wrestlers want to wrestle. Sports entertainers want to entertain. They want to have the time and the platform to do that.
No, but I just think because they've seen what we can do at NXT and the time, that's where the whole Give Divas a Chance came from. I don't think it was like, oh, we really want these 20-minute matches on Raw.
Right.
I think the die-hard, dedicated fans that follow the Diva women's division at NXT were like, okay, they're given a chance, let's give them a chance. Mm-hmm. I don't really, I only focus on where I'm at, so I only focus really on what's going on at NXT, but I do believe we, as a whole, all the girls down here is what started that revolution. Congratulations on the success. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you. It's NXT, WWE. Everybody can't wait to see a lot more Charlotte. So. Thank you so much.